back to your own YouTube channel, Ask Your Gynecologist. I'm Dr. Sonal Parihar, and as usual, I'm ready with the new video today. Right? So whenever you send me a request of this particular topic, I note it down, I make it a point that I note it down, and I try to make that video as soon as possible. I try to clear all the requests in one go. I try to make them like 2 videos, 3 videos in a day, and then keep uploading them Wednesday and Sunday so that you keep getting your knowledge, you keep getting your topics as you have requested, right? So I should just thank you initially that the kind of response I'm getting from you all, the kind of sharing and the liking and the subscribing I'm getting, I was not expecting this. It is really nice and I'm really enjoying interacting with you all, because in the last 20 years of my practice, I've never enjoyed so much sitting in the hospital as compared to what I'm doing right now. One more thing that I have started now because of the YouTube is online consultation through DocWise app, which is going very well. I have patients from all over the world. In fact, I would say from New Zealand, from UK, from Kuwait, from Iraq, from Nigeria. So there are so many patients who are connected with me, and I'm really sorry. The only option in DocWise app to call you will be when you have a number which is an Indian number. I cannot give you a call if you are sitting in a foreign country. So you can always send me a voice message and then I can reply back. Okay. If you have any technical query, then these are the technical numbers, technical query numbers. You can call them or you can WhatsApp them. It is very easy. You can just download DocWise app through your mobile Play Store and insert my PIN, and then you can connect with me. In case you are in India, you want to consult me, you can come to the hospital. That will be very good, and that is the best way to consult a doctor, to actually physically come and see her. So this is my address. These are the landline numbers. This is my secretary's number. Please do not call my secretary after 8 or 9 p.m. at night, because that's not very nice to actually disturb somebody's privacy. So just be careful of that, and I'm always available whenever you ask me any question on the YouTube. I'm always there. Even on DocWise app, I'm answering your questions even at like 2 a.m. at night. Whenever I get time, I try to answer them. Okay, so coming back to the topic that you have requested, today's topic is PID, pelvic inflammatory disease. Now what does that mean? As the name suggests, pelvic means a pelvis of the female, right? Inflammatory disease means infection of the organs which are there in the pelvis. Now what are the organs in the pelvis of a female? Uterus, tubes, ovaries, cervix and vagina. Okay, so whenever any of these are infected, it is called PID. Now somebody asked me what is the difference between PID and STD. STD is sexually transmitted disease. Now sexually transmitted diseases are the ones which are transmitted only through sexual intercourse. Now PID is infection of the pelvic organs. Now this generally includes STD, because this can happen through sexual intercourse or this can happen through other routes as well. So PID basically includes STD, but not all PIDs are STDs. Okay, so what are the other routes through which these infections can be transmitted? One is from the mother to the baby. Like for example, tuberculosis, HIV, syphilis, gonorrhea. These are the diseases which can be deadly to the fetus, and these are transmitted through the placenta from the mother to the fetus. So when you get yourself injected with an infected needle, or when you get a blood transfusion where the blood is probably contaminated with HIV or hepatitis B, or you are a drug abuser, if say you are using dirty needles and abusing yourself in the IV venous, you're injecting drugs, or you're taking lots of alcohol and all that. So basically blood is also one of the medium through which these diseases can be transmitted. Right? Any systemic infection, any infection inside the body can go to the uterus, not necessarily through sexual intercourse. Right? Now coming to the organisms which cause PID. Now you all know, especially the ones who have studied science, that there are different species of organisms that enter the human body. Among the bacteria, the most notorious ones are gonorrhea, syphilis and chlamydia. Now chlamydia, you must have heard, it is very common. It is commonly checked in females, especially the ones who come with infertility and who have their tubes blocked, because it can be a silent infection. It may not always present itself. The patient might not even know that she's having chlamydia. Okay. Coming to the parasites, the most notorious one, the most important one is trichomoniasis. Now trichomoniasis is very commonly seen in vaginal infections. You must have read in your pap smear reports or high vaginal swab reports, whenever you had a fishy odor vaginal discharge, then you must have read the report saying trichomoniasis. Now that is trichomoniasis. These are the clue cells that we actually see in the pap smear. Clue cells are very distinctive of trichomoniasis, and they give you a fishy odor in the vaginal discharge, right? So this can also cause PID. Coming to the viruses, the most important ones are HPV, human papilloma virus, HIV, then coming to hepatitis B, hepatitis C, all these viruses. Now these are blood-borne infections which can be actually transmitted either sexually or through the blood, right? Through the infected needles. Now these can cause deadly PID, deadly infections which can be actually very lethal to you as well as the baby if you are conceiving, right? Now coming to the symptoms, what all symptoms you can have which can suggest that you have PID? Well, any kind of infection will initially present with pain, right? So you might have pain, you will have pain in the lower abdomen, below the umbilicus. Now the lower abdomen area is below the umbilicus, and then this pain can spread to the back, the lower back, in the lower lumbosacral joint and the lumbar vertebrae and the sacrum. This pain can go there. It can also enter your thighs, in the inner thigh, the groin, or even in the upper anterior thigh. Then it can also present as a vaginal pain or a groin pain. So all these pains will mimic as if you're going to have a period. Many patients, they complain that I get pains, I start having that pelvic congestion sort of syndrome, painful days, 10 days or 5-6 days before I actually start menstruating. So that indicates that you have some pelvic congestion, there is some infection, some inflammation going on in the pelvic organs, right? I have explained this in endometriosis as well, that when you have endometriosis, you start having pains 5 to 6 days before your periods. Okay, so pain is one thing. The other thing that you will have is fever. You will, or you may or may not have it. Any infection will come with inflammation, and you may have fever with chills or without chills, right? You might have some soreness in the vagina, you might have some pimples, some ulcers there, you might have some boils on the mouth of the uterus, that is the cervix, if at all it is a lower genital tract infection. The cervix and the vagina, they come in the lower genital tract. So if the infection starts from there, if it is a STD, it comes from the STD, then there will be some kind of infection suggestive of lower genital tract infection. Okay? What else will you have? Well, when you go to a gynecologist for checkup, you might have excruciating pain when she examines you internally. Now, little bit of discomfort, little bit of pain is normal when you get yourself internally examined, but a gynecologist can make out when the patient is wincing in pain when she is examining the patient, that yes, this particular patient is suffering from some kind of uterine infection or inflammation, right? You might have painful intercourse, because again, whenever the mouth of the uterus, the cervix is touched or it is moved, then you might have that pain. The excruciating pain might be there. Okay, you might have foul smelling vaginal discharge, which I have already discussed in the trichomoniasis. Vaginal infection many times goes hand in hand with urine infection, because in a female genital tract, you have seen that the urethra and the vagina are very close. So you might have burning urination. You might have some menstrual irregularities, because when the pelvic inflammation goes to the uterus, especially the inner lining and the ovary, the hormones get disturbed, so the cycles become irregular, and the pattern of your bleeding, it might become more darkish, more blackish, and very scanty flow, because the walls of the uterus might get clumped together because of the infection. So all these changes you might have in PID. Then whenever you have infection somewhere, for example throat infection, then you will have these lymph nodes enlarged. Similarly, if you have pelvic infection, the lymph nodes that drain that particular area, that might get enlarged, the pelvic lymph nodes and the groin lymph nodes, which can easily be palpable. Okay, so these are some symptoms which ring the alarm that you should go to your doctor. Okay, now who all are the ladies, the risk factors, the ladies who are actually prone to having this kind of infection? Well, any lady who is practicing unsafe sexual practice, right? For example, not using condoms. Well, condoms, as I said in my contraceptive video, the video which came on contraception, that condom is the only barrier contraceptive which prevents and protects you from sexually transmitted disease and PID. So if you are not using condom, then obviously you are at a higher risk as compared to a lady who is using condoms. Then having multiple sexual partners, because that makes you more prone to infection. The more the partners, the more the infection, the more the damage. Then having sexual intercourse at a very young age, because at a very young age the vaginal mucosa is very fragile, very friable, and it might lead to certain cuts, and through which the bacteria, the viruses can enter, and they can enter your genital tract and they can cause infections. Okay. Then some ladies are very prone or very fond of douching, which I have already explained in my video on white discharge. Why does this happen? You should avoid chemicals and perfumes to douche or to wash your vagina, because the natural barrier of vagina is the healthy bacteria which is living there. So if you are using artificial things to douche yourself, to clean yourself, you might just wash off these bacteria. Okay, so this might make you more prone towards infection. Okay, any history of forced intercourse in any age group of the lady. because forced intercourse will obviously give you more damage, right? More damage to the vaginal mucosa, to the cervix, more entry of organisms to cause infection. Then comes ladies who have low immunity. Now low immunity can come because of any past infection, already suffering from some kind of STD where the barriers have been already broken, she's already having some kind of infection sitting there, or she's an HIV patient, already the immunity is low, or if the lady is pregnant, or if the lady herself is a drug abuser, she's using drugs, or she's an alcoholic, because all these things will damage your immunity, and obviously your protection, your fighter WBCs which are there in your body to fight off the infection will be gone, or will be very low as compared to the load of bacteria and the virus that you get inside. Okay. Last but not the least, copper T is not the cause of PID. Copper T has been ruled out, has been removed from the causes of PID, because it has been proved that if the female hygiene is poor, then if and she gets a copper T inserted, then the infection will occur in the initial 2 to 3 weeks. That is it. It will not happen after 3 weeks, because what all has to happen will happen in the first 3 weeks. So copper T does not cause PID, because if it is causing any infection, it will be local infection because of poor hygiene, and that will happen within 2 to 3 weeks of insertion. Okay. So now what you have to do? Well, as soon as you get these alarms ringing, you have to go to your doctor. Please get yourself treated. Don't wait for the complications, because the complications can be lethal. What all can be the complications? Well, complication of PID, first of all, infertility. If the uterus is damaged, the tubes are damaged, the ovaries damaged, definitely infertility is going to come. The tubes might get blocked, clumped together. For example, tuberculosis and chlamydia are very, very notorious for that. You might get TO abscesses, like tubes and ovaries clumped together in a pus-formed abscess. Pus-filled cavities might form inside the uterus, outside the uterus. If the uterine lining is damaged, you cannot even go for IVF. Because if the tubes are blocked, you still have an option for IVF. But if the uterus is damaged from inside, the endometrium is gone, then you cannot even have an IVF, because your uterus is damaged. Obviously, your periods will be irregular. So infertility is very, very important complication of PID. What are the other complications? Chronic backache. Sometimes you will get frustrated going to the doctors, to the orthopedic surgeons and gynecologists, but still you will not be cured of your backache because of this chronic deep-seated infection. Okay? So even this infection might not even go with surgery, even if you remove your uterus and ovaries, because it is set in the blood vessels, in the veins and the arteries and the capillary system. That is why you get that chronic backache. Next complication is ectopic pregnancy, because we need healthy tubes which pick the egg from the ovary and propel it, push it towards the uterus, so that the uterus gets the egg and the pregnancy settles down in the uterus. But if the tubes are damaged, then obviously the egg and the sperm will settle down in the tube, and then you might end up in an ectopic pregnancy. In certain cases, your pregnancy might even get complicated because of the infection, like for example, abortion might happen, or chorioamnionitis, infection inside the uterus might lead to preterm labor or premature rupture of membranes, which I have already discussed in the previous videos of complications of pregnancy, right? Then your fetus, the baby, if it is inside you, if the lady is pregnant and having some infection, some kind of say syphilis, that is why we check VDRL when you are pregnant, HIV, these are the viruses which actually affect viruses and bacteria which travel through the placenta and affect your baby. Okay, so when they affect your baby, the baby can be very, very badly affected. It might have some congenital problems in the eyes, in the bones, in the brain, and the baby may not be compatible for life, or it can even die inside the uterus, right? Very remotely, these infections can lead to cancers of the genital tract, because any kind of infection makes it more prone, like for example, I told you in the cervical cancer vaccine, in the cervical cancer video, that multiple damages to the same area, multiple infections can make that particular area prone towards cancer. Okay, so these are the very deadly complications of the pelvic inflammatory disease. Sometimes this infection can travel to other parts of the body, like for example, eyes, bones, heart, lungs. So basically it's a body, and the blood circulates from all over and connects every organ with everyone. So if the PID is not controlled, it can lead to very bad complications. So friends, you have to be very careful about your lifestyle. Please practice safe sexual practices, and please use condoms if you are having multiple sexual partners. Please be aware of your health, keep your immunity well maintained, and please be alert with the alarming symptoms of PID, and you all know now what are the complications. So go to your doctor. Even if your doctor suggests some surgery or suggests admission or gives you a long list of investigations, get them done. Do not be miser, just get them done and take care of yourself. Right? So if you have to ask any more questions on PID, my inbox is open. You can send the questions. I go live every day, as you know. I go live whenever I get time. It might be morning, generally evening and late evening. Yesterday I was there at 10 a.m. So 10 p.m. at night. So it just depends when I get time. I'm always there available for you to answer your questions. I try and answer each and every question. If at all some questions are missed, that's because of YouTube, not because of me. Sometimes the YouTube does not show all the questions. I don't know why. I don't understand the reason. If it's a very personal question, please download DocWise app, because it is better to have a personal chat rather than have a community chat, right? Apart from YouTube, if you do not have a channel on YouTube, then you can send me the message on my Twitter account, my Instagram account, Facebook pages. You can follow me there, and I would prefer to ask my medical questions only on the YouTube channel. Right? So till then, take care. I'll be back soon. Wednesday and Sunday my videos are coming. Apart from that, every day I'm going live. I'm trying to educate you people as much as I can. So take care, keep subscribing, keep liking to my videos. Bye bye.